Puerto Rican kid, bald head, loves snakes, loves Blizzy, Sergio Chacon.
Yeah.
What up?
Peace. Welcome to the DBS podcast. It's your boy Sergio Chacon, aka Blizzy Chacon. That shit whack.
I mean, it's always gonna be Dirtbag Shit podcast. The DBS podcast.
Peace and welcome to the DBS podcast. It's your boy Sergio Chacon, and this week we have a very special guest, a friend of mine. Our friendship spans well over 20 years. He is also a Lower East Side native. He's going to share some stories on doing security at New York City clubs, bouncing, doing private security for Tracy Morgan. He's a bud enthusiast, and he's also going to share some information and his insight on his passion project for breeding bullies. It's a great episode. I hope you guys enjoy. Without further ado, please welcome my man, Big Lou.
My podcast is like the epitome of like the first, I want it to sound like the first Wu-Tang album. I want there to be, bottle caps flying off, you know what I'm saying? Someone coughing in the background. It's all good. It's all love. I want to hear
beating the drum on the paint bucket, tapping that drum. Yeah, you need all that. Crackhead in the back screaming.
But a funny crackhead, not the annoying ones. I mean, they're all annoying, but a crackhead that like thoroughly entertaining, that after he does his thing, you throw him $1. Like, yeah, you earned that.
You definitely got to be a crackhead with personality there. Got to have some personality in there to hit that type of, level. Absolutely.
For sure, man. So like I was saying on my Dirtbag intro, me and you go way back, doggy dog. I mean, it's been over 25 years. We were in junior high school together, always, showed love to each other. And then I see you, I would say maybe like 15 years later, and you're considerably heavier than the next time I saw you. I mean, dogs, you were big, bro. And I was concerned. I was like, yo, my man Lou about to have a heart attack.
Yes, I was concerned. My max weight was at about 330.
Yeah, and you were a bouncer at China Club and you used to hook the guard up. I used to get in there for free. I'd be like, yeah,
yes, sir.
Lou.
Remember that? That's where you first, I don't know if you remember, that's the first time you told me, yo, dogs, I'm going to start getting into comedy. I'm going to start doing stand-up comedy and all that.
So this is exactly, I didn't start yet. So man, so this is, I definitely was like in my first year or something. It was like 14 years ago. Because I remember I went to the China Club with somebody and I believe they were a comic. You hooked it up for us. Maybe it was definitely like 14 years ago.
Yeah. It's funny too, because that story was a little dirtbaggish. We was having that conversation in the fucking men's bathroom. Using the bathroom in the store, whatever. Who? I'm doing something. Can't right now. I'm sorry. Yeah. My fault. I had a little dirtbag moment. You saw that? I got the do not disturb on the door. And they not respecting it.
You got a do not disturb sign on your door?
Yes, leave me the fuck alone. When that leave me the fuck alone sign is up, don't knock on that door. He's not respecting it. The same way he's not respecting the podcast right now. Yeah, we actually had this discussion in the men's bathroom.
That's
and
hilarious.
You was telling me, I was like, get out of here, B. Definitely wash hands after that and all that. So we was good. We was golden there. But I remember that conversation. Sabian was actually in there with us.
Oh, word?
Yeah.
So we were in one of those club bathrooms. There was probably a bathroom attendant sitting there with Lucy's. We're blocking his money, and he's probably looking at us like, "Motherfucker, you just look funny. I'm sure you're not funny."
Lucy's and fake cologne. He definitely had the fake Gucci cologne right there. Few African oils maybe on the side he had. Oh yeah. He didn't even have sugarless gum. He had like juicy fruit and Wrigley's Spearmint. The most filling he had on the side.
I know, man. So now, like, that's a tough job, man. Yo, you're a bathroom attendant. You're dealing with drunk assholes. You got to stand up and you're handing people towels. God bless those dudes, man. I mean, listen, they might not be essential workers right now, but if you know a bathroom attendant, a friend of yours, a family member, hit them up, man. Get them some cash flow because they dealt with a lot of shit.
Yes, they do, especially times like this with fucking the clubs is closing, all that. How would they, you know what I mean? It's true. That struggle is real. They hear the strain. Imagine some of these motherfuckers get all coked up and they get constipated. You understand what I'm saying? or even the loose bowel ones. You know what I mean? Where they have that explosion in there. You got to hear all that. Like,
you got to hear a cokehead's conversation as a bathroom attendant. Who wants to listen to a cokehead like that? Yo, man, I'm gonna, yo, man, like, here's $1, here's $1. But you know what? Fuck around, a cokehead will overtip.
Listen to this. When I worked at China Club, when you came, I've learned from one of my bouncers, rest in peace, Will. He told me every little corner at the spot you can make a few dollars. So they always, I was the post by the men's bathroom at the main floor, the hip hop floor, and I learned. He taught me a scheme where get cool with the bathroom attendant. They let you know when somebody's in there sniffing coke. You get the tap where they flash their flashlight. You go in there and you know what I mean? And then you go and you catch them and you get money like that. So we had a hustle. And I one time, it was like a med.
So you would get money from the guy doing the blow. Like, yo, if you want to stay here.
Absolutely. I would front like I'm calling police on the radio. You got any uniform cops? He's like, no, please, man. Like, I can't. I got a warrant to this. Well, what do you got in your pocket? You know, so they would $200, $300. I wouldn't take no less than $150, depending on the type of person that we was dealing with.
Yeah, because if it was a supreme dirtbag, you'll make sure you get that money.
Med student went in there. Med student. I got him up, hit him with it. He's like, listen, my career will be ruined. I'm trying to be a doctor. I'm trying to be all that. What do you have in the ATM is what I told him. He gave me about $475. I gave the bathroom attendant about $150. I told him he gave me about $300. I had to keep a little extra because, he didn't know who he was. I got kicked. Yeah. So, we worked that out, but that was my whole little hustle with my bathroom. So I got love for my fellow not fellow, but I got love for my bathroom.
That's a dirtbag bouncer story, man. Yo, but you know what? You get it when you can, man, because being a bouncer security is fucking difficult, man. You're dealing with the worst of the worst, man. You're dealing with dudes souped up on all sorts of drugs and drinking, and they flashing money. You get all sorts of different personalities, pretty much at their worst for the most part. So especially, how long were you doing that? It's a dangerous job.
I bounced about 12 years. I started in 02. I started in 02. Right after the towers dropped, I was working in Wall Street as a stock boy, still trying to find myself. I was 21?
Yeah.
And then that didn't cut out. I had to start stocking in Pathmark, and that wasn't working out. Then the Twin Towers dropped. And I'm like, wow, Twin Towers dropped right before I'm in Pathmark. What the fuck am I gonna do with my life now?
Right.
The whole shit is, everything's crumbling. So a cousin of mine actually was like, we should move out to Connecticut. You should move out there with your girl. So that's what I did. My kid's mother, Nicole, who we also went to 56 with.
Right.
We moved out to Connecticut. Well, we stood out to Connecticut through this madness, and he was like convincing me to stay out there. So then I was like, if I find a job within this weekend, me and my girlfriend at the time, we'll move out here. And Connecticut, I found a job at the casino, Mohegan Sun Casino, doing security.
Yeah.
And then that's standing. That's what she had to throw on this shitty Indian style polyester security.
And you were big at that time too. The button was up here.
Yeah, and I had the long braids. I looked like a Samoan in an Indian reservation.
I remember you had those braids. Yo, you were so big that like the ridge on your forehead protruded out. Like, and I have a lot of love for you, so I was like worried about you, man.
Yeah. I had the big pun blodges,
Yes, that's what it was.
At those. Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And which, by the way, hold that thought. I want you to continue on the progression of like doing security and everything. But that's funny. I know you're a big pun fan. Like, we love big pun as Puerto Ricans from the city, but specifically you. I know any chance you get, you big up pun. But for years as a teenager, I was mad at him because he was so big. It was almost like, this is the guy who represents us. Like, I love this dude. Lyrically, he's smashing him. And he's from a little island of Puerto Rico, from the BX. He's from out here. But the fact that he was so big was almost like having an uncle who was addicted to drugs. And they didn't want to stop. Because I knew it was a food addiction. So I held resentment to this guy I never even knew. But musically, I knew him. And I felt him. And I love what he was doing for our people and the culture. So I caught myself mad at him. Like, man, why he's so big, man? So big.
Yes.
So big.
And then at that time, living in the Bronx, you've heard little things. You heard like, yo, this guy got 6 months to live. And I'm like, shut the fuck. Like, how are you going to say, if he knew he had 6 months to live, he'll do something about it. You understand? And I was kind of naive and and sure enough, exactly 6 months to that conversation, he passed away. Wow. You understand? And it broke. I met Pun twice. I actually went to his funeral. I went to his wake. And it was a line and a half, but due to a few people we know, we was able to get in there, and we was able to see a king, you know what I mean, be properly buried. He had like jewels in his hand, a diamond encrusted the rosary beads, you know.
Yeah.
He had a whole bunch of jewelry in his hands and had security just around him and a line to go see him, and you seen everybody in it. It was incredible. It was a day. It was a very sad day for me because, like you said, I love Pun. Pun. It's the one rapper when he died, I actually cried. When Big died, it hurt me to death. But when Pun died, it's like a family member died. Yeah.
It's amazing how these artists like resonate with you, and you feel like, damn, like it hits hard. And the thing is, he kind of died like shortly after he was trying to get healthy. He went to like the fat farm, and then like what was it? Like in the span of 6 months, it was kind of like a relapse. He probably ate a lot of food, you know, and then his heart gave out.
That was a great time to be Puerto Rican, actually. You know what I'm saying?
Hey, we were in style, hard body.
Yo, between Big Pun, between Tito Trinidad, you understand, with the festivals and what was going on, it was a great time. If you remember, Rough Riders everybody was trying to bring out that Latin. Remember, Eve had like a Latin-inspired song. Everything was trying to
what your brothers want. Yeah.
Everything was Puerto Rico. Puerto Rico was the style.
Right.
Now things are like fucking. We sort of extinct. Like,
and people forget. Yeah, that you made a great point. And you know, so Puerto Rican was in style. Also, who was popping at that time? J-Lo. Yo, big asses weren't in style, but now they're in style. Like at that time, white girls didn't want big asses like that. But J-Lo crossed that shit over, where it was like fashionable. Now white girls are all on Instagram. Like, if you want a butt like mine, they got a peach emoji. I'm like, no, J-Lo been doing that, dirtbag. And that's the thing. Yo, white people will run with your shit. They even taking our asses.
It's true. She made fit cool. Before that, it was cool. You wanted to be that little Asian looking, you know what I mean, Mei Ling slim thing was ready to go, but no, J-Lo made fit cool.
Yeah, I mean, I'm talking about like commercially, like, you know, then like white America started accepting, like, fuck you, we been into this shit. Get out of here.
She made thick pop. She made thick like pop music. You know what I mean? Yeah. And once you go pop, you already know you skyrocket. And that's what J-Lo did. She made being thick pop.
All right, so going back, so you're Mohegan, son. It was a move. How long were you out there doing security? And then, like, what was that? A year or two?
We was in Mohegan Sun I started doing security, but then they told me I could make more money, and sitting down in the cage cashier, being a cage cashier. Plus, you get tips. So I was like, shit, put me in that little maroon vest, and let's get the cage cashier rocking. And I
looking like a Care Bear.
You absolutely did. They gave you this little maroon vest with the 3 gold buttons, and like I said, I was big as hell. They didn't have maroon vests that fit me, so 2 of my buttons was, you know, barely being stuck together. A wrong burp, my shits would have popped off.
Yo, so let me ask you: were you able to apply any of the China Club? Well, actually, you're working there before China Club,
yes, exactly.
So you didn't have any side hustles, or were you able to maneuver the? So did you have any like side money applications at the casino that you can make a little extra money if someone was acting up, slap them upside the head?
No. See, in the casino, I was 21. I wasn't thinking no side hustles. I was thinking just straight work. I learned that side hustle, closed mouths don't get fed mentality from my man Big Will, rest in peace, in China Club. You understand? So I learned that a little later on in life. I learned a little later on in life where you need that 2, 3, 4th type of income that that comes out, to really do something, and you know what I mean, to fit in out here, because that one income wasn't gonna cut it living in New York.
Right.
So I was in Connecticut for about a year till I got that phone call from one of my great friends who did security there. Was like, yo, I could get you in China Club with me at 18 an hour. What's going on? And I was like, hell yeah, because at the time my kid's mother was pregnant. We was having difficulties with her pregnancy in Connecticut. We felt the hospitals in New York would be a lot better. And we decided to go that route. So it worked out. We moved back to New York. You know what I mean? And that's where I started. My first bouncer job was probably at the dopest club I could have worked at. You know what I mean?
And which one was that? Was that China Club?
China Club. China Club was my first, and I've been there so many years. I've seen so much. I've learned so much.
Yeah.
I remember
China Club was one of those spots. It was a diverse spot too, because you had out of towners, you had people from the city.
No, it was a huge tourist spot. It was huge. It was in the middle heart of Times Square. So you had all the tourists come through, all the tourists ready to spend money. Yeah. You had your Friday nights where tourists were really there Thursdays, Fridays, but then the Saturdays was the ratchet crowd, and you had at least the ratchet floor. You always had we always made sure we had a floor that accommodated the tourists, but we had our ratchet floor for our New Yorkers, and that's the floor.
Was it as ratchet as the tunnel on Sunday nights? I'm gonna tunnel on Sunday nights. Woo-hoo!
Definitely nothing like the tunnel on a Sunday night. I'm gonna be honest with you. I take pride. If we was like the tunnel on a Sunday night, I wouldn't have been doing my job. You understand what I'm saying? And the rest of us.
What other club was ratchet? There was you want to go way back in the days? There was a place called
Was it Carbon a little ratchet?
It wasn't that ratchet. Vertigo. There was a place called Vertigo. It was a small hot box on the west side. I mean, fights used to break out every other song on that joint. You know what I'm saying? What other one? Speed was nasty. Speed got ugly. Yeah,
That's the thing. I wasn't big into going to clubs. I remember even like early 20s, my cousin Alec, and my kids, all of y'all did. I wasn't really into it.
You weren't really into it. Because you had a kid mad young. That's why you had to.
21, I had to sit here and try to figure out for this, what am I going to do with this guy? You know what I mean?
And you did.
And it changed my mentality, and I had a lot of good times in China Club. Met a lot of,
and that's great. So you were working there for a minute, right? You were at China Club for how long?
I was at China Club about 8-9 years on and off. They always hired me for some really minor bullshit, and then some big drama happens, and then they hire me right back because they knew I was great at my job.
Yeah.
Politics kicked in. The owner wasn't a fan of my attitude because I wasn't kissing the promoter's ass like a lot of them did, and I just kept myself. I was always myself, but when shit hit the fan, they definitely called me back saying they needed me.
I remember I think what makes a good security is someone, or a good bouncer, someone who could diffuse the problem before it happens.
That's the best security guard.
That's it. And I felt like I went there dozens of times, off the strength of you. And I remember, like, you used to see things from afar, and you'd be like, yo, hold up. I remember you'd be talking to me, and like the side of your eye, you'd be like, Serge, hold up. And you would like, put something on smash real quick, but no drama. Like, you would take a blunt or, separate it, but you saw it before, like, it actually evolved into something. I remember seeing that.
And I take a lot of pride in that. And security, even a little private security I did, I try to diffuse some with my mouth before fucking, you know what I mean? Physical at all times. That was the best part. That's the most important part of doing security or being a bouncer.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? Like, physical is last resort. Last resort. You know what I mean? I remember I wasn't even trying to talk when I see one dude sucker punch my cousin Alex. And same like he came to the club, he came through and he gets sucker punched. I lost it. I just started swinging on him till I see a little bit of blood, and that was one of the times I got fired. You know what I mean? But like I said, they bring me back. Little things like that. It's family, so you black out. Yeah. But maybe 2-3 times that's ever happened in the 7-8 years that's ever been there.
So you're telling me all those years doing security, only 3 physical altercations?
Oh no.
Oh, you got fired 3 times.
No, I got fired about 4 or 5 times. That's some bullshit. But
Right. I believe that.
I'm gonna give you a perfect example. The first person that ever got sliced in China Club. That's what they took in the 20-some years there's never been a stabbing or cutting in China Club. The first cutting in China Club, I was the first security to the scene. I got a guy walking to me, holding his stomach, looking all weird, and I'm like, buddy, you had a little too much to drink? Everything's all right? And then he goes like this and shows me his stomach is like wide open. Get on the radio, and I'm like, shut the door. Somebody got stabbed close, shut down everything.
Scary.
So then, long story short, we finally shut it down. We doing videos. We getting everybody out little by little. One dude doesn't want to leave the club. He's acting like a dick. We explained on the thing, on the mic, listen, something serious just happened. We got to evacuate the place. So he's not trying to hear it. He gets into a tussle with my head of security, who my man, like I said, rest in peace, was Big Will. And they're about to fall down like a flight of stairs. So I grab the rails and I'm holding these guys. And I'm like, buddy, you don't see what we going through right now? So I gave him like 2 or 3 rib shots because he's not calming down. So I had to take
a rib shot would take the wheels off the vehicle.
Exactly. So I tried to give him 2-3 rib shots. The promoter who didn't get along with me saw it, told the owner, there I went. So a lawyer's like telling me I got to go to court to say what happened and all that, and to testify to. I said, listen, man, that place fired me. She was like, really? And they were shocked, and they was like, we consider you a hero, officer. If you didn't react to this dude the way he did, and he got the proper attention, he would have died. You understand what I'm saying? I was like, well, I'm a hero to you, but I'm unemployed to me. You know what I mean? To my family and all that. So
yeah.
They hired me back because of that, because they knew there was nothing I fucking could do about
that. Right. That's wild, man. And there's been and other than that, so that was like a firing moment where they like canned you, but then they rehired you. But there was how often will there be like physical altercations? How often do you have to was it like weekly, bi-weekly?
It was definitely weekly.
Damn. That's stressful, man.
Especially when they bring in a certain promoter. Remember, we don't pack the China Club doesn't pack the club. We just hold the venue to where promoters bring their group. So when we have it was a bouncer named a promoter named Gungi Rivera who owned ratchet ass club somewhere here in the Bronx. He bring that whole Bronx crowd to the city is when you start to see the difference. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It all depends on the promoter and their crowd. And he bringing a shitty ass. And I'm from the Bronx.
Yeah.
I'm from the most dirtbag borough they could possibly. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And I hated it. I hated having our own people.
I mean, you got dudes who on a social atmosphere, but are mad antisocial.
Exactly. How you gonna put Kareem, who just been pumping 10 packs on the corner, got the killer look in his face, and you're going to bring him around a tourist place where a bunch of tourists who just want to take pictures with people?
Fueling that motherfucker with Hennessy. Fueling him with overpriced Hennessy.
Overpriced, watered down Hennessy.
Yeah, man. Clubs are dirtbags. I remember when I used to go clubbing, and this back in the days, like the early 2000s, when like ecstasy was popping, double stack pill, and I'll be rolling like that. Ooh, every word flowed out like butter. And I was like, I'm not spending $10 for water, so I'll go to the bathroom. They shut off the water, dogs.
Wait a minute. You was drinking club bathroom water? It don't get no fucking third back.
You do what you gotta do.
Yellowy water, yellowy.
They cut the water off because the thing is, when you do ecstasy, like you
thirsty as fuck.
Thirsty. So imagine, man, I'm not gonna spend $100 on water. So I'm like eating fucking ice from people, from strangers' cups. I'm running into the bathroom like that. Water. I need water. I'm like, and nothing will come out. And then the bathroom attendant be like, They're like, I have hot water. I'm like, I can't do hot water, motherfucker.
Trying to give you tea. He's trying to give you tea. There's no way.
Ew. Wow. So you're done with security. So private security is probably a little more lucrative, safer way to go depending on the clientele, right? So did you do some private security?
Yeah, I did. I did private security work for Tracy Morgan. It was the worst thing I could do. You know what I'm telling
Did you really? Yeah, he's a handful.
Yo, that's what it was. He was a handful. We started off because he came to China Club and hanging out, whatever. I seen him, no lie, give a girl a bottle of champagne and start sucking on her toes. I'm looking at this nigga like, yo, you're a maniac. You need to chill. You need to you don't know you're a celebrity because you're doing non-celebrity shit right now. You know what I mean? Sucking on this girl's toes, and so from there, that one we took him after. We went to a cigar spot. We went to a diner somewhere in Chelsea, to get some breakfast because now it was like 7, 8 in the morning, and he gets into a big problem with a female pimp. Like she has 3 of her girls, and he's trying to fucking, you know what I mean? And you could tell this girl was no joke. You know what I mean? You could just tell by her body language, the way the waiters and all that treated her, the owners at the spot treated her. Again, it's like, it wasn't 8. It was about 6, 7 in the morning. You know what I mean? So there wasn't too many people in there still. It was still an after-hour crowd, but it wasn't too many. So the owners and all that was there. And you could see the vibe that they gave this girl. She tried to stab him with a fork. We tried because he's just out of control. He's just out of control. You know what I mean? And then after that, he want to go to another spot. And then he rambles on about Sabina's gonna kill you. Like, I know his wife. You understand? Like, I never even met his wife, but he would talk to you like you know his whole family. When he would get he's like, why weren't you at my kid's bar mitzvah? I'm like, wait a minute. Like, I just met you tonight, motherfucker. What are you talking about? You know what I mean? So he was whacked out like that. I did that with him about 3, 4 different times. And like I said, another time in the cigar bar, so it got to the point where he would call me and on some super dirtbag shit, I would have to lie to him and say, like, listen, my son's under the weather. Take care of your kid. You know what I mean? I would have
take care of your kid, Lou.
Yeah, I would
take care of your kid, Lou.
Throw my little man under the bus. You know what I mean? To get out of dealing with Tracy Morgan. He would be in the club and he would take his fucking shirt off.
Yeah. Notorious for that.
He would yell at you for you not to. You're not taking. He's like, take your shirt off, and I'm like, fucking yelling in my ear. I'm not taking my shirt. Remember, I was 330. I was a big fat slob. I'm not taking my shirt off. What are you doing? He would yell at me.
Shit.
I'm not doing this no more. This is crazy. This is crazy.
Yeah. Were you compensated well for that, or was it like, you know?
Yeah, it really was though. I'm not gonna lie to you. He was like, every spot we hit up, he was giving you $200 for basically about an hour or so there, and then he's like, let's hit up this spot. I'm giving you $200. So we would, after hit up the spot, we would go to the ATM. He would pull out the $200 for me, $200 for my man, and then we'll go to the next spot. And then, y'all want to go here? Yeah, fuck it. You know what I mean? All right, let's back to the ATM, $200 for me. So on a good, crazy Tracy Morgan, I'm getting home about 11 in the morning, but I got about $700, $800 in my pocket. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was definitely lucrative. It was worth getting the stab from the female pimp with the fork and shit like that. You know?
Well, she didn't actually stab you. She tried to stab.
No.
She tried to stab him.
Used the great bouncer skills, grabbed her up real quick, gently, of course, and just like, I understand he's out of, you know what I mean? But please, you know what I mean? Bear with him. He's a little drunk. You know, again, using your mouth to get you out of that situation. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Tracy's wild. The last time I saw him was at a club called Laugh Lounge, and I may have told this story on the podcast before, but I'll retell it because I don't think you've heard it. And he comes to the club. It's like a Monday night. You know, it's a night where it's a little slower or whatever. And he comes down with a leather suede vest, and he does his set, and you know it's funny shit, you know, but it's a light crowd, so he's done. He's like coughing on stage. His man comes in with an expensive bottles water. He's like, good looking. He goes upstairs and he starts talking to the owner, Delilah. And he goes, yo, Delilah. He said, let me put my fingers in your butthole.
You lying.
He said, let's act like adults. Let's have an affair. Let me put my fingers in your butthole. Yo, and then he just stared at her the whole time without breaking eye contact like this. And I think he's like thriving and being, and enjoying her discomfort. She's like, oh, you're so funny. And he's like this, let's be adults, let's have an affair.
He's getting his rocks off for that shit.
Yeah. So some people get off like making people feel uncomfortable. I think he's one of those.
He loves that awkwardness. He loves that shit.
Yeah. It's funny, man. That's funny. So after the security thing, you probably didn't miss that shit, right? It's like
I didn't. After bouncing in clubs, I started like leaving the clubs alone. I started to do gentlemen's clubs, and those I actually enjoyed. I used my little skills that my man Will put me on to. I was selling a little bit of bud to the strippers. I was also at the front door, so I got tipped off. I also parked the cars. I valeted the cars, like $20.
Okay. So and I feel like the certain strip clubs, you'll get that noise, but not as much. I think that security is a lot more tight knitted. Obviously because there's women working and stuff.
You don't get no noise. I didn't get
nice.
I was in this gentleman club about 3 years and didn't get to one altercation. Wow. You would just have to point. It's mainly stock guys. It's mainly Wall Street guys bringing the partners over or whatever little meeting. Hedge fund people just had a meeting. They'll come over. Get a little
a bunch of nerds.
Exactly. So
a bunch of nerds.
You point to the door. You know what I mean, and they ready to go. No problem. Or they giving you $100 to stay in there. I'm like, all right, but another problem. You out of here. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And it's gonna cost you another $100.
Yes, of course. I was at the Plaxico. Remember the Plaxico Burris shooting?
Yes.
Remember Plaxico Burris shot himself in the club and this, that, and third? Right before going to, I forgot what club that was he was in, but right before going in.
That was, wasn't that Latin Quarters? Was that Latin Quarters?
I couldn't even tell you. I don't think Latin Quarters, though. I think it was something a little more whatever. But they was, some of the Giants was always used to coming to the gentleman club that I worked at. It was right off the Jacob Javits Center. It was in the city. It was a perfect spot. It was dark, so they could get their little creep on. So a lot of them would go through there. And Plaxico Burris came through our spot the same night that he actually shot off that gun at the spot he went to right after. Right. He parks his Maybach, and I'm like, he gives me the keys. I park the Maybach, and he goes upstairs. So on the way down, I'm like, it's $20 to park your car. He's like, I don't got the cash. It gives me this stink look. And he's with Anthony Pierce. And Antonio Pierce. I'm sorry, it's Antonio Pierce. And Antonio Pierce is like, nah, don't worry about it. I got it. And then he gives Plaxico the 20 to hand to me, and he like throws it at me and it falls with the most dickish look. And I just stare, no problem. I pick up the 20 because I still need that 20. And then they leave off. I come home and I got some of my niggas still in the crib. And I'm cursing out. I'm cursing them out. And I'm like, this nigga's, telling them what happened or whatever.
Yeah.
And then we turn on ESPN a few hours later. He shot himself. I'm like,
he's a clown.
Yo, he's a fucking bozo. And I'm like, but Karma's a motherfucker. When some of these people, some of these celebrities and entertainers and athletes, they really think they're invincible. They really think they can do the shit that they do. It's crazy.
they get caught up in the hype, man. They believe they become consumed with themselves, and they just have this sense of entitlement, right? And they lose track of themselves. Yes, who does that? Who and they're dumb as shit. Like there's no reason to be in a club with a pistol, dog. You're not a gangster. You're a ball player, and you have the money to have a nice team or wall around you to have a good time and do it right. This dude doesn't even get into drama. He ends up shooting himself. Who does that?
That's the B-Rabbit shit right there. It's ridiculous. Like, who does that? You're right. You got a fucking linebacker right next to you in Antonio Pierce. Yeah. You got like two others. Like, what are you doing? What are you doing? You know what I mean? But they like to. It's because their fans treat them like gods. They really start to think they're gods. It's crazy.
Yeah. It's funny. I was talking to a guest yesterday about that and he's a big YouTuber. He got like a daily vlog, and it's a very different sort of entertainment. Yeah, but what basically my point is, he was talking about how your listeners or whoever's subscribing to you. You can't believe the negative or the positive too much. You can't keep that too close because it changes you. Like if I was to if you're like popping and you believe everyone that's telling you, oh, you're fantastic, you're the best, you start believing that, you start moving different. Your behavior changes because people are calling you, God, dude, you're a normal human being with a talent, but you're still not exempt from the bullshit. But people
Absolutely.
are given this liberty. They have this liberty that they feel I could do and behave the way I want. No, motherfucker, that shit's ugly.
That's
And
disgusting.
it inevitably comes back. It comes back with karma. It comes back with the energy that's gonna be brought back to you just on a daily level. I mean, you can't be happy behaving that way, and I think that's what people, they'll learn and realize slowly but surely. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I believe it. I'm not a firm believer in religions. I'm a firm believer in karma.
Yeah,
That's what I
sure.
go by.
Spirituality.
Yes, absolutely. I try to keep it that way, and you do good all the time, and it'll come back eventually. But you do your part. That's all that matters.
For
You know what I
sure.
mean? I don't go by that. And again, he was a big perfect example of that. I learned that throughout time, and I'm like, look at this. You do disgusting shit. Disgusting shit happens to you.
Yeah,
Career
for sure.
ruined that for me.
For sure. But I was, even earlier, I'm not sure if we even got this on the pod. I wanted to say how proud I am of you because we touched on this earlier, and then we just kind of fast forward into like you doing security and everything. But man, like the weight loss, incredible, bro. Like when I first met you, when we became reunited, reacquainted again back in early 2000, you were big, man. I can see you put the work. I mean, you look younger now, 15 years later. That's just bananas.
Minus the grays, minus the
but the grays it make you look distinguished. Looks good on you. So what inspired the transition to lose the weight?
What inspired the transition was losing a great mentor, father figure, older brother to me. I never really had that. With growing up in Lower East Side, our fathers leave pretty soon, and mine's left as soon as he possibly could. So I never really had that guidance. I had a stepfather who was around for a little while, but between him smoking crack and him doing all type and him being in jail, he wasn't around too often. When he was, It was cool. When he wasn't getting high. So again, I never really had that guidance. Through junior high school years, I'm the oldest brother. I got three brothers, so it was nobody to teach me how I should have been teaching my younger ones. You know what I mean? So I was appreciative enough at 16 actually, but at 17 when I left Lower East Side, I moved up to the Bronx. I met my man Pete, who lived on the first floor with his girlfriend. And it's weird because I'm 16, 17. He's about 10, 11 years older than me.
Okay.
But he took a liking to me, and I just hung around him. And his girlfriend at first was like, what are you doing hanging around with a little? But then she saw my mentor where I was at. She was like, oh, he's a little brother. You know what I mean? So they took me in as a little brother, and he taught me a lot of shit. He taught me I had a lot of rage, a lot of anger in me, a lot of wanting to just beat and kill a lot of shit because that's what I saw. That's what I grew up seeing in Lower East Side. And I didn't know no better. So I would see him, and he would see people and smile. Hey, it was a lot of just, hey. I'm like, why do you say hi and you hate everybody? Like, what's wrong with you? And he's like, nigga, why be hated? Why be feared? Why, when you could just be, loved, and everybody says hi to you off of genuine love. And so I learned a lot off Pete. But the main thing, like I said, he would tell me shit like I would get a fucking Philly cheesesteak or cheeseburger, whatever it was I was eating, and I would douse it with mayonnaise and douse it with. He's like, yo, that's too much mayonnaise, or that's too much soy sauce on your fucking pork fried rice. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Cut it down. And I lost him at 44. He passed away on me about 6, 7, 8 years ago. So if a nigga who was at that time living a whole lot healthier than I was living, he dies at 44, and I'm knocking on that door in a few years. It just was a real eye opener. It opened me up to like, dude, you got to change your shit. You got to change your shit. And So from there on out, I started to. I try to be gradually started with the working out, and I still was eating a little horrible. Now I've been on my juicing a lot lately, so that's how I get my vegetables in and all that now. I throw carrots, celery, kale, spinach, whatever greens I got around there, and as long as I throw enough green apples and pineapple in there to change that taste.
Yeah, because that shit it will be too bitter with just kale. So if you could offset it with some pineapple, mango.
I dip up some honey. I drizzle some honey in there, give it a little sweeter. And that's how I get my vegetable intake.
Yeah, and that's smart, and that's the way I do it too, man. Because I'm not. Listen, man, I'm not into like having kale on the side with almond slicings and everything. Like today, I was like, I got a bunch of greens. I just threw a bunch of them in there with some pineapple, coconut water, and that was it. Because
Exactly.
throughout the
Coconut
day,
water.
I'm not eating kale. I'm not eating beets. I'm
Yeah.
not eating
No way. No way.
I don't
I don't even like how it looks. That shit.
Yeah.
I'm like, nah, there's no way. No way. You know what I mean?
Well, keep up the good work, man, because I see you caught a rhythm. And that's the thing. When it comes to like healthy living, it's like one thing at a time. I think people look too far in the future and they need this radical change. And you're constantly given a picture of how much better other people look. Is this the society we live in? It's always been like that. It's been on the cover of magazines. Now it's Instagram, which is always at your disposal. Like, it's always in front of you. But the thing is, you have to realize how far you've come. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Absolutely.
I look at myself and I'm like, whatever goals I have, I'm not worried about the other person. It's like, how far have I come within the last year, the last 2 years? My diet is getting better, my running, or whatever it may be. People have to give themselves the credit they deserve, because the moment you flash pictures of a complete stranger who's all ripped up, like, it's like, that's unrealistic. No, it's
Absolutely.
like, like you got to say things in a fashion where it's like, be gentle with yourself, work hard, and then work the plan accordingly, and it's like sometimes just a checklist, preparation is key. Like, for example, the way you say your vegetable intake, that could be done every day, but it requires preparation. Make sure you got the fruits and vegetables. Make sure you just blend it in and just knock it out early in the morning. Now you got your vegetables in.
That's it.
Working out. Sometimes like looking for your workout clothes is the biggest pain in the ass. The night before, set out your workout clothes right in front of the doorway. Get out there and do it first thing in the day, or however your schedule works,
Absolutely.
Preparation is key. You can't I find personally that if I allow myself to like wing each day, then I'm just like a mess. I start something, I don't finish it. It's just like all over the place in disarray, But I see you pumping the iron, looking good. That's fucking dope, man. So I'm really proud of you, man. Keep up the good work.
Bro. Thanks a lot, man. I appreciate that. I try to do that every day, a good part about working out too, or something you probably do need, especially for this, is a little team. A team that can help push you. You understand what I'm saying? A lot of people, unfortunately, don't have that or might be a little too shy for that. I did the gym thing for about a year by myself. No team, same routine, no science to it.
That's the thing, the same routine. Yeah, you plateau quickly.
Plateau.
But when someone else is giving you a different workout or telling you, Lou, I need two more. That shit works.
Yes. Especially when you got that spotter that you can go a little heavier. No, you just try to throw it up because he got you. He got you. You understand what I'm saying? And then I lift a lot of that now. What I thought I never would lift. You know what I mean?
Right.
Leg press. I could throw up about 10, 11 plates, 45 pounds on each side. I put that up on Instagram and social media.
I saw that. Beast.
1,000 pounds. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Kick the shit out of him, dead in his ass.
While eating a cheesesteak. Bang!
With extra mayonnaise. You know what I'm saying? But that team really helps me out. So now, because the gyms is closed, we was fortunate enough to find a guy who lives on a little back block, but he has a whole workout set on the side of his house. He must be like an OG where I live at right now because nobody touches his shit. So when you see him, you read that, this motherfucker did about 12 years. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Whatever he was doing, he did at least 12. But he allows us to work out there. We throw him a few dollars. We obviously sanitize it and we safen up with the mask, gloves, but we can still get it in. We get up our pull-ups. We get up all that. And the important thing is, what you mentioned social media that I wanted to say. Also, when you see people who you went to school, like you said, you might see a stranger that gives you too far enough. Like, I don't even. But when you see a motherfucker that that you went to school with, and you see them doing good and phenomenal, it makes you be like, well, he's my age. What difference is Sergio doing that I can't do that?
Right,
you know what I mean?
Right.
I understand. So you find motivation and shit like that. Like I was telling you earlier, I definitely took a lot of motivation of how you get busy. Your hand skills in boxing is incredible. Your
I appreciate that, man.
You know what I mean? The way you look, I was seeing you with a lot of your calisthenics, especially when you with the sliders with your feet.
Yeah,
do
yeah,
something like
yeah.
that. Like,
And
you
which,
have
by
to
the
do
way,
it at the time.
there's always a
However,
way to do it. There's always like
yeah,
the sliders are great way to make push-ups more interesting, right? Because a regular push-up,
exactly.
but you and if you don't have sliders, you put if you have a wood floor, linoleum, whatever it may be, you could put two towels and use them as sliders. So do a push-up and a knee tuck, a
Yes,
push-up and a mountain climber. But there's always ways to improvise. You know,
yes,
just like we're
absolutely.
doing now with this pause, there's always a way to figure it out. There's always a way. And the thing is, with training, not only are you training your mind physically, but your mind to adapt, to be strong enough and willed enough to really any adversity you're able to figure out. You know,
That's a
because you're like
great point.
it's confidence. You know, so
No,
that's the
absolutely.
biggest thing. It's awesome, man.
Absolutely. That's a great point. Like I said, I've seen the guys I work out with lift shit I never thought I could lift. And
Hmm.
now I lift a little more than them.
Right.
So it's just like, wow, you understand what I'm saying? And I like I said, I was started going to the gym just to live. Like my man, I just wanted to live. Now
Yeah.
I'm seeing progress. Now I'll be like, oh, Lou, you're looking a little good. Or now
Yeah,
I'm trying to get my back right. Now you get my sit-ups in. Now,
yeah, yeah.
let's work on the next part of it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. You know what's funny? It's like we're seeing that now. It's just because we're of age where it's like it's super important. It's always important, but now it's super important because if you don't do it like in your late 30s or 40s, it's super hard doing it in your mid 40s or 50s. And then by then you might have some sort of underlying health issue that's going to be hard
And
to
then by
like
then it's too late.
it's
At
too
the end of the day,
late,
it's too
you
late.
know? And then like your habits are so thick and heavy. It's like it really is. It's very, very extremely difficult.
Yeah.
But it's interesting, right? Like, so we come, you know, we're big hip hop heads or whatever, but it's just funny to me and very, like, I'm inspired by it. But to see like our favorite rappers from back in the days who are super health nuts. I mean, even Styles P from the Locks, he got like a juicing joint. I love that. You know, at
I
first it
go to
makes
his
me
juice
laugh.
bar. I go
Do
to
you?
his juice
Oh,
bar.
that's so
Yeah.
fucking funny. It's like this motherfucker used to talk about, yo, push your weight, shoot. But now he's like, yo,
Listen.
get that juice.
It's funny you mentioned Styles P. He's my favorite rap. Like right now, rappers that are alive, he's literally my favorite rapper. In my top 5, I got Nas ahead of him because there wouldn't be too many people before Nas, but Styles P is right behind him. And
Right.
I say that for many reasons. You understand? Like, tell me one rapper who's giving you a larger body of work in over 25 years and still consistently sharp. You ain't
Yeah.
got too many. You don't have too many that still have that
Now,
sharpness.
you got. I'm really not up on him, so you're gonna have to educate me real quick. Styles P drops a lot of independent like work, or he
Yes,
does it with.
absolutely.
Oh, okay, I didn't know that.
If you got Tidal, if you got like Apple Music or whatever it is, you punch up Styles album. Styles has about 14 albums. Like
Word? I had no
studio
idea.
albums. Yes, yes.
Oh, I didn't know that. So what it is, I don't think I have the platforms he plays on because I've never seen the Styles P's album. At least recently, I haven't.
Right. I've always been the biggest Styles P fan. Like he even dropped an album with one of my youngest favorite artists, Dave East. You know,
Yeah.
and they made an album together, and he's lyrically keeping up with this young boy, this young
Yeah,
up and coming
yeah.
beast. You understand
Yeah.
what I'm saying? And I love it. I love everything that
I
he
mean,
brings to the game.
he's probably inspired by that fresh energy. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely. And not only that, Dave East, Styles P was Dave East's favorite rapper also.
Oh, that's
It's his
dope.
favorite. And, you know, so imagine from his aspect, like, yo, I'm doing a fucking album with nigga I grew up idolizing. You
Yeah,
understand
that's
what I'm
dope.
saying?
That's dope.
That's incredible. You know what I mean?
That
Imagine
is
like just
dope.
hanging out with RZA or Wu-Tang or,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Anybody in that genre who we idolized.
Right.
And another thing I love about Styles P and what he's done is if you notice, again, we big Punch fans, but I'm the biggest Punch fan. And who helps out Punch's son resonate this career and put him at a platform where he can help himself is Styles P.
Oh,
I don't know if you
wow.
noticed that.
I didn't notice that.
Yeah, he was doing
That's
a lot
dope.
He started Styles P's putting him on some of the albums. He's on Styles P's videos, using the D Block studios and whatnot, and use those outlets that Styles P was able to perform to create, you know, what he got going on now. I actually got a song with Pun's son and my son. And,
dope.
and you know, my son's mentor, because my son is spitting right now. My son's a pretty
Yeah, your
dope.
son is nice, man. I every time I get a chance, anytime I see it on IG, man, I'm like popping my head, like, ooh, this kid is nasty.
I got your email now, so I'll send you some music that I got that, and it gives you that old soul that we hear, but with that twist of the young boy shit. Because you gotta spit for the young boys as well.
Yeah, for sure.
Do I respect it? Absolutely. I'm not a big fan of it, but we gotta accept it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, the fact about it is, it's not for us. You know, it's for them. You know, that's what I've had to come to grips with, because I caught myself being crotchety and old. I was like, what is this shit? And I was like, oh shit. Oh, the elders were doing that to me when I was listening to like Onyx. I was like, let me stop that shit and just let them be kids. Let them be kids.
Exactly. That's how I felt. I felt like that old guy who we would be like, well, that's not our time music. Back in our day, they was really, I sound crazy. I sound like one of those old guys.
Yeah. And it's a losing battle. No one cares. You know, like
exactly.
Oh man. You know, another thing that we have in common is like our love for animals, man. And recently I was introduced to the fact that you breed bullies now, and that's pretty fucking dope. And that's such a world that I'm not familiar with. What inspired that? Because that wasn't you weren't breeding bullies when I knew you. This is like this is much later, right?
Yeah, 1999. I purchased my first pit bull, and she was a little scrawny looking, and I was didn't really know too much knowledge of dogs. Like a boy was like, Luke, she got to be on a leash and all that, and I'm like, she'll be all right. She listens. And nigga, 2 weeks later, 4th of July, 1999, she gets hit by a car and dies. You know what I mean? So
I've had pit bulls. Yeah, 1999 was like not gonna get hit by a car, but thinking I can just whistle and they'll come back to me, and they'll run in the middle of the street. Thank God I never dealt with that.
Yeah, I dealt with my dog getting hit by. So I was crushed about it. A girlfriend of mine purchased this other. I saw this beautiful dog. Got a weird, there's a dude that lived on my mom's block. You go to his house, he's had the most illegal, exotic animals you can have in your house.
Tell me more. I'm very interested.
Yo, I'm telling you, hawks. He had a gator. He literally had an alligator. He had like tarantulas. He had a whole bunch of weird, crazy shit you don't normally keep in your crib. But, he also breed dogs. And he had this beautiful dog I fell in love with. And my girlfriend bought him for me. And he changed my life. His name was Kane. And I had Kane for like 14 years.
I remember Kane. I remember that name. And I think I've probably seen you in passing with that dog. I remember that.
Absolutely. No, absolutely. This dog was legendary. This was the DMX days. Mm-hmm. So if you had a pit bull, you was that thing.
Yeah.
And he was just the type of dog that just wanted to impress me 24/7.
Pits are the best that way. They're motivated by your love, pit bulls.
Absolutely. So it was like whatever I needed him to do, he did it with flying colors. I like a knucklehead, the typical 19-year-old DMX shit. I was trying to fight him at first, and he was good at it. But it's not, it's not what it. So I'm glad we had a few fights with him. He was great at that. All right, but it's not what I'm into. So on to the next thing. And it was just, I grew with him. When I got away from the knucklehead age, and I grew with him and his loyalty. I remember I'd be ready to, how many fights and being jumped I was able to stop because of my dog? My cousin would yell out the window, yo, Lou, these niggas trying to front over here. I would go down with my dog. I'll leave my cousin right here, and I'll go to the dolo with my dog off the leash. He was a lot smarter, with a lot more experience, and he's like fourth. I would keep him off the leash. And the dude's just like, yo, put your dog. I'm like, don't worry about the dog. We got a problem. What's going on? Like, he's like, yo, but I said, again, family, what's wrong with you? Well, don't worry about the dog.
How big was Kane?
At the pit bull age, he was a nice size. He was about 17, 18 inches tall. He was about 80, 85 pounds, but his head was massive. He was massive. He was half red nose, half blue nose. So he had a nice little beautiful mixture that you didn't see at this time. He was different.
He had cropped ears?
Yes. I crop all my dogs' ears. It's only for look. It's only for look.
I mean, I absolutely love the cropped ears. I've never had a pit with cropped ears, but I love it, man. It just brings out their face, I just never, I never did.
It makes everything else pop. It makes everything else pop.
I'll tell you though, and I'm gonna let you continue. One time, I believe my first pit, She was a great dog, and she was like 5 months. And I went to the vet, and I was like, "How much to get her ears clipped?" He looks at me. He goes, "Why don't you clip?" Yo, he said, "Why don't you clip your ears?" I was like, "Okay, thank you."
You told me that.
I was like this. How would I look? How would I look with
told me
clipped
that.
ears? So this is how I would look with clipped ears, like this. Yeah. So he shut me down. I never asked that question again.
Yeah.
But
No,
I'm not one of these advocates that's against it. Like I think they do look really nice, but there's people who are like, "Oh, that's cool." I don't think I think it's like circumcising a kid. Like you do it when they're young, you know.
That's
like,
exactly what it is. That's exactly.
There's no long-term health effects. These dogs respond well to it. They rarely get infections.
But not only that, right. these dogs are put to sleep. They put to sleep for a little while. They don't feel nothing.
Right.
You know, it gets cropped real quick. It gets stitched up, and then they put some powder on it. You give a few pain meds, and it's good to go.
Within a week, they're like, "What?" You know?
Exactly. A few days later, they don't hurt or nothing. They don't feel no pain. I'm not with my dogs feeling pain. Any pain you gotta feel. Like I have insurance on my dogs now. You understand what I'm saying?
So you had Kane, and he inspired, like that was your dog, and that's the thing, man. Like dogs have always been that for me. Like I remember my dogs. It's like the 12-year period in which I've had them, because I've always had my dogs pretty much for their full, you know, from puppy to adult and to their demise. And it's like I can remember that section of my life, you know, where I was at. And they do grow with you, man. Yes. They grow with you. I remember the drama. I remember who I was with at the time. I remember the evolution of what I was going through, like all of that. And that dog represents that. And like when I was lonely, when I was whatever, that dog was always there.
Yes, they feel that energy, whatever energy. Like I said, it opened my eyes when I was waiting in front of my building for some dude who called, say he was going to come through because he owed me, you know, long story. I had a problem with a dude. He was supposed to come through. I waited out. He's like, I'm outside with you. So I go outside with just me and my dog. Mm-hmm. And this was the first time I ever saw that they read your energy. He sat right next. He didn't go piss. He didn't have his tail wagging. He sat right next to me, chest puffed out, like in the most stern. And he's just like, anybody who gets next to you, I'm tearing their ass up. That's what he told me by looking at him. And it was the most eye-opening experience. Like, wow, these dogs are really you know what I mean? They ready to bang out for you, catching bullets with his teeth for you and all that. You know?
Yeah.
They go out for you. So he was the first pit bull I really fell in love with that opened my eyes with this breed. And I had him about 13, 14 years. I had to put him down just because he was hip dysplasia. He was suffering.
Yeah. All the regular stuff that happens with it. And that's a nice life though. 14 years, that's a pit bull's life.
Yes. So the first year or two was a little rough, but after that, I gave him the best life I could possibly give him. He loved my kids. Every time people would come over is when he'd run to his food and start eating his food like they want to eat it. The only one he didn't mind was my son. My son would go start eating on his shit, and because he's like a year and a half, 2 years old, and he's a greedy little fat fuck. And then the dog gives off a bark, like letting me know, yo, your little nigga's eating my shit. You know what I mean? And I would imagine, and it looked like shit in his mouth. It looked like he's chewing on shit. It's just so much cheek slap there. So, you know, they care for your kids. You know, they're the greatest guard dogs. I love them, man. I love them. These dogs will do anything that you really sincerely want them to do for you. Anything, whether it's guard dog, security, which is the same fucking thing. Which, you know, family dog. You know,
they are great with kids. They are the sweet animals, and they're durable too. Like they're like the size that you can go running with. You know, they're not too big. They're not too small. If I can find a pit bull that doesn't shed a lot though, because they shed a lot. All dogs shed, but man, I got these little white hairs all over the place. It doesn't stop, dog.
They prickly, the little prickly joints. I got wooden floors, so every now and then, if I'm not wearing slippers, I fucking get. It feels like a splinter in your foot.
Yeah.
But like that. So going on to that, it adapted me to this American bully that's like it looks like a fucking pit bull on steroids.
Yeah.
It's a whole lot They look like 10 times more intimidating, but they're 10 times more docile.
Oh,
That was
really?
the only thing with the American Pit Bull. They're great people, but people dogs, but they are animal aggressive. Throughout the 100 years of constantly doing what they've been doing, it's hard to take that out of them sometimes. Even every now and
Not
then.
all of them, but you have to definitely keep
No.
an eye on it. Yeah.
Not all of them, absolutely
Yeah.
not. But you have a few that's just in them.
Yeah.
I've had a few that it could not get out, that I had to either get rid of them or put them down. I had a dog that I had to put down because he was just aggressive. He bit the last final straws. He bit my sister-in-law in the face.
Oh, wow.
Granted, it was her fault totally, because like a retard, she's like, he didn't like her because she was real loud. You understand what I'm saying? So he would go in the back of the room and he would just stay away from her. She's real loud. And the one day she's hanging out and he decides to show a little love to her, she's sitting on the floor by him. She bites his ear, like nibbles on it. So he's like, no. She starts laughing. She's high, she's drinking, and she does it again. And he just snapped. You understand what I'm saying? So again, he shouldn't have blacked out that hard. That's what I meant when they snapped. But she shouldn't have been fucking nibbling on the nigga's ear who don't even like you. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah. That poor dog, man. He had to suffer the consequences from her stupid actions.
She want to be Mike Tyson, and he has to get put down for it. You know what I mean?
There was no. Why didn't you like give it?
Well,
why didn't you like try to give it away or something? You just thought he was like too aggressive or something?
Yeah,
like
he was a big dog, and he really was aggressive. He really was like, he was actually the first big dog that I got into right after Kane. So I was sort of training him in the same way when I first trained Kane, bite this tire, jump up this wall and grab a cone and hang on that. So I was teaching aggression when I should have been teaching just love and discipline. You know, then I got another dog. So I started showing more love with the other dog, and it was sort of put Chopper down to the side for a little bit, and that aggression just kept building, and he kept growing. He was about 130 pounds. And even when I was going to put him down, they said, this is a beautiful dog. You mind we work with him? Before deciding, I said, please, I'd rather you not put him down. I'd rather you find a nice place for him. He's a great dog. He's just a little too aggressive. You know what I mean? But that was totally my fault. He wasn't even to blame for that. Like, I started to teach aggression. I started to like a true killer.
So where was he brought to? Was he brought to like the ASPCA, or who said they would possibly work with him?
Like on 110th Street and like First Avenue.
You think they eventually worked with him, or they weren't able to do it?
I believe they work with him a little, because why even tell me you're gonna try to work with him? You could that place is just like, yeah, give me the dog here, syringe, and put up there. They're not trying to eat.
Oh, so you don't know if he was put down then?
I don't know.
Oh, I bet if they wanted to put that work in, they probably. So you didn't like take him to a vet and said put him down. Like you just gave him up. Okay.
Yes.
So that's the way it came across. Yeah.
I just gave him up, hoping that somebody had the time for him.
Yeah, got it. So it's like someone to adopt him or work with him. But I guess if they no longer do that though, right? They don't have like kill shelters. Like if they don't adopt a dog, they don't put them down anymore. That's old school.
I don't think so. But like they still got the spots where they have to put your dog down through the house, too old or whatever. Like I bring a few dogs there even up until recently that I had to put down the old age and all that they still do things like that. It's the ASPCAs right on 110th Street and First Avenue.
No, because
they try to work with the dog. They do try.
Okay, because that came across like I felt bad. I was like, damn, this dog was just annoyed, bitch your sister, was his sister-in-law. And then like it sounded like you just got the dog put down. You just gave up the dog.
Yes. You know what it was too? I didn't realize, because after Kane, I got a lot of other dogs, but these were like grown dogs that people gave me. I was like, yeah, dog is cool. It looks nice. It's calm. It's not aggressive. I'll take it. I took a French bulldog like that. I took a few nice pit bulls like that. Chopper was the first dog that I had to train from beginning like I did with Kane. When I did that with Kane, I was in my late teens. I wasn't working. I had the time to really put in the work with
it requires a lot of work.
Now. I'm working. I didn't have the time to put it with Chopper how I wanted to. So it was just like, I bit off a little more than I could chew. Hopefully you guys could do something with them.
And that's the thing, man. And I think a lot of animal lovers, are guilty of this, and myself included. You know, we always have to be careful. I did this like back in the days when I was younger. I would like take everything in and then be in over my head. I'm like, oh shit! Like,
Exactly.
and then I had like a big ass bullfrog that's supposed to eat my like with a desert lizard. Like I just threw them all together because I was running out of space, and it was super irresponsible. It's like I would never do that again, but. It's hard to say no when you love animals and you think you could do the upkeep and everything.
It's hard to say no when you only thinking for the moment. You're not thinking for that
it's
long
impulsive.
term. You know, that body of work that you got to do, that responsibility. I clean out that cage, that buy the vegetables on the everyday. Like that's a lot of work. I did the same thing with Iguana. Like I tell you all the time, I love your snake enclosure because this shit is dope. I've had a few snakes. I've had your typical start-off ball pythons. I had a boa constrictor. I had a lot of snakes. You know, iguanas. So I'm big into reptile. You know, all animals I love. I love men type animals. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, but now I just because I got into this American bully thing.
So do you?
Go ahead.
No, go ahead. So I was going to ask you about that. So, like, when does it? So that's I would imagine that's a lot of work, and we're doing this out of Jersey, right? You have those dogs in Jersey.
Yes,
does it ever feel like you're in over your head, or do you have the system now where it's manageable, and maybe your wife helps you and the kids help you, or how is the system orchestrated, and how many dogs do you have?
I started off with 2 dogs, and I had a litter from my female. And unfortunately, she died on me. It took my soul away. That was about.
I remember that. Remy.
Yeah, it was about Remy Martin. It was about 2 summers ago. So I had 2 of her sons.
That was 2 years ago already.
Yeah. August.
I remember that.
Yeah, and I had no females. I'm like, wow, how am I going to start this program that I was building up in my head? Like, so I went crazy and just bought 3 females. I bought Remy's cousin. Remy's sister. And then I bought 2 puppies, you know what I mean, all from different states. So the blood is different, everything is different. And I'm breeding these 3 girls now. You understand? So it went from a small breeding thing to something really, really big off of Pure D missing Remy. You know, emotion. I bought these 3 dogs off of Pure D emotion. I spent about 14 grand buying these dogs, shipping them to me and all that. Now it's like, all right, you got 3 dogs. Now what we do? You know, but so right then, you feel a little over your head. But like you said, I built the system. Definitely can't do this by myself. Definitely, wife is a great big part of it, especially with the puppy situation. My kids help out. You know, this is a whole family thing. But it's only us. I don't have a lot of these breeders or brigade breeders. They have partners and everything I do is off my dollar. Like I've if I known the hard work that it is or the amount of money that would have been spent, I probably wouldn't have gotten it. I would have stood with my 2 dogs. Because again, this isn't for, I don't do this for money. This is my passion and my hobby. Like I've been doing the dogs things forever. So if I could, make a few dollars off something I sincerely love, why not? I think that's sort of the fucking American dream. Like, are we, like with you, the comedy and what, your income is off your love. You understand?
Right.
So if you can make your money off your passion, it's the best thing. So
absolutely.
But I don't feel ever over my head. It's like I had but you have your big losses. Like I said, when I lost my female, that right there is you take an emotional toll, not just for you, but your whole family. So then I got 3 other females. And then the first female that I breeded, like now I got these 3 girls. Now they're a little older. Now I can start breeding them. The first one was supposed to be the like top notch, like the boy I used for wasn't one of my boys. I went real special for my female because she's really, really special. And she had 6 pups and they all died.
Oh God, yeah, I remember that. I saw that. So you had one that lived that eventually died too.
Yes. So like,
and what's the reason for that? That's just trial and error. It's just what happened.
Trial and error. It was a little lack of knowledge and a lot of.
So what happens with something like that? Like, what do you think is the learning curve there? Like, you got this female. Was she too young? Was her habitat not set up right? Why do you think that happened?
Well, the situation was, the pups stood in her a little too long. You understand what I'm saying? So she was already a small girl and she had a lot of puppies in her. So I took her to her vet on Wednesday and she's already pushing. Like she's letting you know these puppies got to come out. And her vet is saying, I don't go to her vet to do all these procedures. I go to a bully vet, like a guy who's
Like a specialist.
yes, who specializes so just on bullies and like American bulldogs and English bulldogs, that bull breed. So, but I was taking her for her X-rays and letting her like, what's going on? Well, she's pushing and is she ready? Well, no, this is day 57. Her temperature's still at 100 and she got to be at like 97 degrees or something like that for her to start having to give birth. She might be given a quick forced labor or something like that. No problem. The next day, she's feeling a little. So I called the bully specialist and I scheduled like an emergency. Yo, I think we should cut her open and get these pups out. And then the second they start opening her up, you immediately start to see like green everywhere, like infection. And then he's panicking. He's like, oh my God. And so he starts pulling out he said, look, this puppy's dead. This dead puppies. He's just pulling out dead puppies. Now, these puppies go for about $3-4 a pup. But again, I'm not thinking money at this moment. I'm just thinking, save my babies. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
save my little fur grandbabies. And
you're like you got to be like worried about the mother too at this point.
I didn't even get to that part, but yeah, absolutely. 3 survived immediately, and then 3 died. Like he showed me the 3 dead. He's like, yeah, these 3 are still living, but it's still a battle. And then he's like, but look at this puppy's ribs, and the rib cage is like this. The rib cage was crushed. You understand? So it's a flat puppy trying to survive. So then I'm like, that puppy's not like, we got to put him down or put him. I don't want him suffering. Like that's crazy right there. He's not gonna live. So, but that one eventually died. Now there's 2, and one of those eventually died.
Yeah, so it was almost like a birth bounding effect. Like they were just in there too long, and
no, that's exactly what it was. That was exactly what it was. So when I spoke to the specialist, this is where the miscommunication comes in. We never spoke about a set time of when I did this. I should have did the surgery on Tuesday, and I ended up doing it on Thursday. And if I spoke to him on when I did, see, this is the situation. When you breed a dog naturally, it takes 62 days, like clockwork, for this dog to give birth. Normally, anywhere between 59 and 63 days, but day 62 is that day. You know what I mean? But I did a surgical insemination, meaning they surgically cut my dog open and jerk off this male dog and syringe directly into her egg. So when you have a natural dog who humps, like it takes a few days for that sperm to finally get to the egg. It takes a day or 2 to start the process. That's why you get 62 days. My situation was I shot it already directly into the egg, so it immediately took away 3 days. It shouldn't be day 62. It should be somewhere like day 58, 59. So I didn't know that. That was where the lack of knowledge comes in, and also.
You buy the sperm from like another breeder, right? And then like mail it, and then your bully specialist injects it directly into the egg.
Yes, they open her up, they give her a small incision where her egg is right there, and they syringe her right into her egg. Yes, all these babies. You actually see the babies in them through a little machine, like they put a little sample, and they let you see it on a test tube, and you see those little motherfuckers swimming. So you know that they're alive. Those babies are alive and kicking. So you know that the guy, whoever sent you the semen, they send you no dead babies or anything. Everything is covering your ass because you spend so much money on this. Like that semen is $3,000. It varies depending on the demand for that dog or his puppies. You got you got dudes out here that charge $10,000 for their dog semen. You know what I mean? It's a very lucrative business if you do everything right. You understand what I'm saying? I don't do it for money. I do it for love. I want my own personal signature type dog where you walk the streets, you see, oh, that's Lou's type American bully, and then you move on. A nice, clean, fully functional where you can take your dog jogging with you. The dog is not going to catch on. Like a lot of these American bullies now, they starting to crossbreed a little too much, and they also starting to a lot of more bulldog in it, where you get that elbows out, flappy feet. I don't, it's a really unhealthy dog. The joints, it's not good for your joints or anything like that. It's not breeding. It's not responsible breeding. I like my dogs nice and tight, able to run anywhere, really diesel clean, just looking like fully functional, beautiful dogs. You know what I mean?
Yeah. One thing I was fascinated by like dog breeding. I didn't realize a lot of times you could do interbreeding, right? Is that the right? Like the brothers and sisters could breed it, but you can't do too much of that, right? Or the mother and
I would never do brother, sister, or especially from the same litter. But mother, son, father, daughter, yes, you could do that.
that happens a lot, right? That's odd, man. I never realized that.
That's keeping the blood as pure as possible, keeping the blood strong. I wouldn't advise to constantly do it.
Yo, it's wild to me that you can artificially inseminate pit bulls, though. Going back to that point, that is wild to me. Like, anything in this world is available to you. I buy my snakes online. One day we're going to be able to go to the bodega and be like, yo, let me get 2 Dutch Masters. Let me get some of that blue nose pit sperm. Yo, let me get 2, you know what I mean? Let me get 2 packs of Newports. And let me get some of that red nose sperm, too. Because I got this bully I'm trying to mix some flavors with.
I got this American Bulldog here. I might need some of that semen. Yeah, absolutely.
It's just wild. So you telling me about the crossbreeding? It's all education for me. I had no idea. I did know that when you overbreed and stuff, they're susceptible to all sorts of to illnesses and stuff like that, which kind of breaks my heart. That's why it's like I'm interested in learning about it, because it's not just bullies. It's bulldogs. It's German shepherds. You see German shepherds with the back. It's like
yes.
down. It's like So people have to. I get they want to get this perfect specimen and everything, but sometimes the motherfuckers just gotta leave it as is, right?
No, absolutely. And every time you do an artificial insemination like that, you deal with when you don't allow nature just to take its course and you start to allow science in it and the whole situation, you start to come with deformities. You'll start to get easty, westy like side dogs with the paws to the side or whatnot, and just mean underbites or just features that you're not supposed to have. Make them really unhealthy. Your dog isn't able to exercise with you. I like fully functional dogs like that. My purpose of what I'm trying to do, I'm trying to breed perfectly fully functional bullies. You understand what I'm saying? Perfect tight feet, nice clean jaw, long straight tail, and a nice block head. And I'm just trying to keep it as clean, give it that old school pit bull look still, but with the times 10 steroid looking out. You know what I'm saying? And then genetically having them look crazy.
Yeah. It is wild. I'm always fascinated by that, by how even humans. I have a family member who actually, she wants to get pregnant, right? So she actually went to a sperm bank online, and she got, there's 2 packages you can get. Check this out, Lou. There's 2 packages you can get. You can get it for like a G or whatever, how much she paid, right? But the G only gives you a description of the sperm donor. So maybe Yale University, his mother and father were surgeons, right? But she didn't get the picture.
So there's no physical specimen. You know his resume. You got the resume, but no physical attributes.
Yo. So my wife is alive. My wife is like, she's very animated. You met her before. She goes, "What? You didn't get the picture?" She said, pay the $50 extra to get the deluxe package. You know what I mean? They got the deluxe package. Yo, this motherfucker looked like Drake with cerebral palsy, Pop. He looked like Drake with like a little bit of Down syndrome. So now she got the sperm that she's not using because she doesn't want a Drake reject.
Word up. Drake's coffee cake.
You know Drake the rapper. His eyes are already too far apart.
Yeah, that extra $50, you could have had no, I don't want him. I want the baby Brad Pitt looking kid, or the young David Hasselhoff. You know what I mean? The Michael Knight, David Hasselhoff.
David Hasselhoff at 12 years old, your kid have mad hairy chest like that.
Word up.
Good times, man. Yo, David Hasselhoff, is a good representation of our age, man, because we were kids watching Knight Rider, Mr. T. Come on. After school is Different Strokes, Facts of Life.
You know, I still watch. On Stars, they still give episodes of Different Strokes and Knight Rider. So if I'm about 10, 12 L's in, and I'm just too stuck to even too stuck to move the controller, I believe it there, and I watch that shit.
Your weed consumption is bananas, bro. I mean,
oh my god.
It doesn't affect you. You don't feel that shit. I mean, they're blunts too. Are they? What kind of blunts are they?
They Dutch Masters.
They're Dutch Masters. I remember when I used to smoke, I feel like Dutch Masters. No, White Owls used to kill me.
Yeah, that's a dirtbag shit.
That's dirtbag shit. Right?
That's how I normally know the generation smoke I'm smoking with. If I'm smoking with a dude who smokes Phillies, you in your 40s, your late to mid 40s. If you smoking a White Owl, you 55 or better. You know what I mean? That shit is like smoking out of a Jordan sneaker box.
Yeah, man. They always tasted like they were stale.
Yeah,
they were rough.
Yeah, the young boys do the backwoods and the little joint. I don't do. I'm the Dutch Master guy. That's how you know I'm in that late to mid, late 30s, early 40s. That's the Dutch Master era.
And it's funny. As kids, I don't remember you smoking like that. So this is something you're like a weed enthusiast too. Like your shit. You're always talking about different grains of or strains.
It's funny too. I got a doctor.
We need to move your ass to Colorado.
I didn't even try to. It wasn't even my MO. Like I smoked a little weed in junior high school and a little in high school, but I had that conversation with my mom's like, yo, Ma, this high school shit isn't really working for me. She's like, nigga, You're not dropping out of school. Get that out your fucking head. Like when you get it together. So I put the weed down to the side and I just took school serious. And that was a big thing that helped me getting out of high school, stop smoking weed and whatnot. And I picked it back up, believe it or not, around 24 years old. It was either that or be in jail for the rest of my life for killing my kid's mother. You know what I'm saying? Like, He got me into smoking. She didn't get me into it. It was I got myself. My cousins and my brothers all smoked. I just did it. I was naturally just okay with it.
Yeah.
And I was like, let me hit that shit. You know what I mean? I'm that stressed out. She would get you that stressed out. So it went from a fucking, like literally a joint every other day to about, I'm not even exaggerating, about 15 on a good day, 20 L's on a daily basis, like every day, about 20 L's. I'm not even going to tell you the amount of money I could be saving or the house and the Catskills I probably could have had. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it keeps me real level-headed and sane. I love the man it's made me. It definitely has a lot of positive, attributes to it. Very few negatives. You do lose a lot of brain cells. You forget a lot of shit.
Yeah. It's like short-term memory. Not long.
Yes, absolutely. Like,
that's why I hit you. That's why I hit you with like 15 texts when I wanted to book you for the show. I was like, Lou, we good? Yo, Big Lou, we good? Yo, Lou is search for 56. We good? You like copy. I was like, yes.
Yo, thank God I got you on social media. I would have been like, Sergio.
Yo, thank God for this quarantine. If it wasn't for this quarantine, I would have not got you on this podcast. Your ass had to be trapped. We had to have your ass in solitary confinement for the shit.
Yeah, keep me in that one where you can get a hold of me.
Because let's not get it twisted. Even when I was trying to remember when I was thinking of purchasing a bully from you, I was trying to situate a meeting, and I was excited, bro. And you would be like, yeah, I got you. And then it'd be like 2 days later, I'm like, yo, this motherfucker.
Yeah, you had to wait till I had time to be in Manhattan.
I know. I remember.
And then, had to get my son goes to school out there, so it worked for me. A better day was that Friday.
Yeah.
Word.
Yeah, that was funny, man. That's the one thing I think with weed. Like everyone who I know smokes, it's like a short-term memory thing, and not everyone. So some people Listen, I'd rather hang out with someone who smokes a lot than drinks a lot. People who
Absolutely.
drink a lot are fucking annoying.
Absolutely.
Like, even if you're a good drunk, you just know. I'm around that a lot with stand-up comedy. After the shows, they're like, "Oh my God, you were so funny!" Oh, yo, let me tell you a joke. Or, people who smoke are just like,
That's what I'm saying. Even a good drunk is eventually gonna get annoying.
Yeah,
It's too much. It's too much.
Fast.
Yeah, it's just too much. This is a little more laid back,
Yeah.
just on the chill mode. And me, for some reason, it gets me talking more. I feel like it enhances me. It enhances my driving skills. It enhances my joke. It widens my horizon to like the all time. You know what I'm saying? Most people, the more they smoke, they get stuck. I get the opposite. You know what I mean?
Yeah, your dogs. I'm ugly, Lou. Like, you would never want to smoke with me. Honestly, I smoke. I start questioning shit that I'm usually mad, confident, and comfortable about. Like, I think there's been a few times I smoke, and this is not my subconscious. This is just me fucking the weed and making me act weird. One time I was smoking, and I licked my lips, and I was like, "Damn, this dude's gonna think I'm gay." And I kept on in my head, and then I licked my lips again. I'm like, "Oh, he caught me," and I'm like, and then I was like, "What am I saying? What am I doing?" And then my palms got sweaty. And then I was thinking about what I wanted to say too much. And when I said it was mad corny. I was mad.
You're not riding the wave. You wasn't riding the wave.
Nah. I was like,
yeah. You were stumbling on that motherfucker like
it was whack. And that happened all the time. So there'll be times where I would smoke, and maybe like 10, 15 minutes later, the heart rate, but then I will mellow out, and it'll be nice. It'll be nice. But it was just too much of a roll of the dice. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Nah, me, like I said before, pre-weed, like in my 20s and all that, I had too much anger, too much rage. The bouncer thing was perfect for me, especially in the beginning, because I just wanted to unleash, rage that, you know what I mean? Like, thank God with them talking to me and calming me down. Like I said, my man Big Will, he helped make me a perfect bouncer. Yo, Lou, we talk. We don't, hands is last resort. Oh, great, absolutely. Like I said, it was my first bouncer job. So between what he put me onto, and like I said, then I started to smoke weed. And just all that rage I had, it just like I was okay with you stepping on my shoe. Now don't worry about it. It's all right. We get another pair. It's not that big. Like nothing's a big deal to me anymore. You understand what I'm saying? Like, and I've started to go through this model. Like today, a nigga cut me off on the highway. I gave him the quick finger because I would always do that. If you're doing dirtbag shit on the road, you're going to get that finger from me. And then he started to throw it back, and I started to get upset. But I come with a mentality now, like, I'm not going to allow you to have that much control over me where you're going to get me upset. You're not going to get me upset.
And ultimately, man, that could be a life-altering situation. Like, Absolutely. Let's say, you allow yourself to be reduced to getting so angry that, you pull up beside this dude and he's holding and you're not. And then now it's like your kids' lives are affected. Your life could potentially be ended. Like, it's a whole host of different things for simply someone acting like an asshole and cutting you off. And, granted, that's rude, but it's not worth anyone's life,
Absolutely.
And we hear it time and time again. It's weird how people behave in cars.
Yeah.
People are out in cars.
Yo, the courage that they develop in this car, like, I guess it's sort of like on the internet. You're not going to be able to get a hold of this person, so you would say the toughest shit via DM, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. I remember one time at a light, I stopped at a light where this guy was, his tough shit. When I got out the car, the nigga ran the light, made the right, and just left off. I was like, wow, you was this mean, tough guy, like in the middle of thing. When I was
he saw that you were standing at like 6'3", 220.
Yeah, exactly.
He was like, whoa, time out.
He saw this wild looking motherfucker. That nigga was like, yo, I'm out of here. Sure. But I tried to. So back to the weed, it prevents all that. It calms down. I'm like, no, go ahead, man. You can cut me off. It ain't nothing's that big a deal anymore. You know what I mean?
Yeah. But yeah, man, I can imagine, man, that getting expensive, man. The amount of you spend probably on a weekly basis, I could buy all sorts of reticulated pythons. I'm just imagining.
Yeah. And I love my pythons and all. I don't love them that much. I don't love them to the point where I love weed. So I got to fucking substitute. I got to compromise. You know what I mean?
Now, how many kids you have now? You have 3?
Well, I got 4 kids. I got 2 that I birthed. My 2, with the Nunez
Right.
name.
Then you got stepchildren.
And then yes, I've been with my girl 11 years. So her 2 kids became my kids also. We actually had a last Father's Day. She surprised me with asking me to legally, my daughter. She asked me to legally adopt her. She wants to take on my name and all that.
Wow, that's a beautiful thing, man. Congratulations.
Yeah, thanks a lot, bro. That shit humbled me. It made me, it drank tears to my face. I had the whole family over. I just rolled a nice doobie. I go back downstairs and everybody's staring at me. I'm like, what the fuck is going on? And then she starts coming with this big, story and all this, the whole scenario. And then it broke down to me. I was like, wow, she's doing one of them shits that I see up on Facebook. And it's crazy because every time I see it,
I like that.
I see it on Facebook and like,
this is happening in real life.
Yeah, you know what I mean? I'm normally on Facebook in the shitter, in the morning. That's my morning paper, you know what I mean? In the shitter. And then I see it and I'm here taking my shits and busting right in the face. You know what I mean? And then I get that same situation. It was just like, wow, she's really doing this. It was really a beautiful thing, man. That was the best Father's Day gift I've ever received.
That's a beautiful thing, man. I like to hear that. It's funny. And you guys all live together.
Yep. Actually, she's in college now, obviously, with this whole situation. She's back home at the moment. But this is her first year at Bridgeport University. You know what I mean? So she's in college now.
That's
still
dope.
doing her classes and all that. So, this is her first year. She's almost done with her first year. My oldest that came from me, my 17-year-old, the rapper, he graduates high school, was supposed to graduate high school this June. And my youngest supposed to graduate junior high school. So this is the 1 year I was supposed to go to 2 graduations, at one season. And unfortunately, with this crazy madness, it looked like it's not going to happen.
Corona came through like this. Like that big dude on the block. We're canceling all this.
Yeah, we did it all.
He said no diplomas. Corona came through like no diplomas, no flat hats with the tassels. None of that. We're not doing Dallas BBQ after the graduation. We're not doing any of that. You guys are going to stay home and get on each other's nerves. And we're probably going to take this into September. So hold that.
No Pack City Islands, no Pack BBQs, none of that.
You're not going to City Island.
Oh, my God.
That's the way Corona's treating us, right? He's like, no. We're not going to City Island. We cut all that out.
All that is done off.
Let me ask you a serious question. If your kids want to smoke, would you contradict how you like live your day-to-day life, or would you absolutely you can smoke, but you got to be responsible about it? What's your take on that?
I have this conversation with my kids, and my 17-year-old every night he tried to pick it up, and I tell him exactly what I went through. What it took me to not smoke weed and all that to get out of high school and handle my business right. So I'm gonna need the same of you. I got no issues when you in your 20s and your 25s and your career-wise you're successful and you have a career and you know what I mean. I feel everybody should use a little bit of weed to ease their tension. Everybody goes through tension, whatever it is. Your respectful job, your day at home, you get a little bit of bud, it calms shit down. So I know when they get older, they're going to be a little stressful. I'd rather them pick up a little bit of bud than pick up a liquor habit. Like you said, liquor, I don't condone. I've seen as a bouncer, as a Puerto Rican, I see, and with a wild ratchet family, I see what alcohol does to you. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I told them at this moment, man. I don't condone it. But when you career-wise, successful-wise, I do, I do recommend it to calm down. Like I even asked my daughter because she goes through insomnia. She's badly depressed. And I asked her too. And she opened my eyes up with some shit like that. I'm like, yo, listen, how you got parents that love you. You got your own room. You got, your own privacy. You got everything you ever want, would ever want. What would make you, why are you still depressed? And she's like, when you say things like that, it's a little ignorant. You understand what I'm saying? And I'm like, why? And then, and she broke it down to me. She's like, this is just battles you go on in your head that you can't control regardless.
Yeah, it could be a chemical imbalance.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
you never. Yeah, you don't know. It's a hard thing to like really diagnose and figure out.
Exactly.
But that's
So
great
she
that you're
opened my
having a
eyes up.
conversation with her about that.
Yes, absolutely.
Now, that's a
That's the
beautiful
great
thing.
thing
It's
I
an
do
important
have.
thing.
Well, again, I thank weed. It allows me to.
He said that we helped me talk about it.
It allows me to come
You're
out
like
the
this, but why are you depressed here? Dirtbag. But how can you be depressed here?
No, I'm not smoking with them when I'm having these conversations, but it allows me to, even when I smoke so much that even when I'm not smoking, I'm still high. So it allows me to take myself out that box. You understand? And overanalyze. That's what weed is great for. It allows you to overanalyze from many different lanes. So I understood where she was coming from, and I have this great communication with all my kids. You know what I mean? So I'm just like, just talk. We don't need to yell out this. Just as long as we communicate and we all do it everything will go smooth. So that was one of the many aspects where we just had one of those conversations, and she broke it down to me and she opened up my eyes. You know what I mean?
Wow. Yeah, I can see that. I can see like, you and your children have that good communication. I mean, even the way you support your son who's rapping and stuff, it's like a beautiful thing. I can tell. It's not like something that you do sporadically when you figure, oh, I want you. It's like you could tell that you really support him. You absolutely love him. Like you could feel and see it, man. And he's nice with it. Your son is talented with
I appreciate
on the
that.
mic.
I really do. I try to, like I said, influence him, or rather inspire him with what we was growing up to. Right. You understand? And like I said, he listens to his little young boy stuff and all that. And when you mix those together, you get his sound. His sound doesn't sound like all these little crazy young guys that we're not familiar with listening to. You know what I mean? He gives you that old school essence. He has many different flows, and I feel like, and not to take all the credit, or take half credit from him, because he's a phenomenal artist, and I just feel like his motivation and inspiration was just trying to impress my dad, because he would say shit from even a few years back when he would start. I'm like, oh, that's cool, Pop, that's cool. You know what I mean? And you got to keep it up, keep writing, and do this. And like I said, I just keep trying to you encourage your children. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Then at 16, he put a beat as we driving home. He tells me, put this beat on, and it's an old school Mobb Deep beat, and he just starts spitting this rap, and I'm like, you wrote that? I said, you know what I mean? I'm like, rewind that, say that again, and he said it again, and I'm like, yo, Pops, like that's really incredible. I'm like, and then the smile in his face, he's like,
yeah, he made Papa proud.
You know what I mean? I finally did it. Now I know the lane I gotta start touching. So you know what I mean?
Yeah,
and then he just kept on that. He kept on, and everything is on him. It's not me telling him, let's spit off this old school KRS-One beat. Everything is his beat choosing, everything is his flow. He does all that. And he's like, yo, look what I'm working on. He plays a joint, and I'm a harsh critic because of where we come from within the hip hop industry. So when he comes in the hip hop industry, you hear me? In the history of what we know in the hip hop game. So when he comes at me with some, I'll be like, that's okay. You know what I mean? And I'm his harshest critic as just as I'm his number one fan. You know what I mean?
Right. I mean, I'd love to see that. And with this kind of it encapsulates like this a good strong family values. You know what I'm saying? Like you supporting him like that. The fact that you're telling me this story about how your stepdaughter want to legally be your daughter, if that's the correct way of wording it. Like, that's all beautiful. And like, you guys are all together supporting each other. And the thing is, like, it could have easily been something very different given your immediate upbringing. I mean, you told me, you were telling me that, beginning to tell me that story about your mom. How old were you when it went down? Tell that story.
All right.
Because I had no idea. And, this is wild.
Yeah. In 1986, I was.
And this was on the Lower East Side, right?
Yes, we was in Pitt Street, the Lower East Side. Like when I tell you, my apartment in Lower East Side, like I lived in the tenements. If you was in Lower East Side, there's no apartment complex. You either live in the tenements or you live in the projects.
Right.
And I lived in the dustiest of dustiest tenement buildings. You know what I mean? And it was right across the street from 90 Pitt Street. When I would leave my apartment to go to school, and they'd be like, "Oh, Louis, you live?" I would lie to people and tell them I lived in the projects across the street. When you lie to motherfuckers that you lived in the projects, when project living,
what was worse about the tenements?
What was worst about it? The space. It was. I think my mom's trying to make a studio apartment, into like a 2-bedroom. You know what I mean?
They were just smaller. And the maintenance of it didn't have like a team. It was probably like one person, right?
And
like
the what?
Like the maintenance of the building was probably just like one
There was
person.
no super in the
Yeah,
80s.
yeah. That's the thing with those
crack
old
era.
tenements.
There was nobody cleaning the building. You gave a
Yeah.
crack.
At least with the projects, you had like nitro.
You had
Even though we have,
Exactly.
you have pissy elevators, graffiti. Sometimes you have some fecal matter and stuff.
Yeah,
But there was like a team maintaining it.
Exactly. Our bathroom was like more like a fucking latrine that was actually in the hallway.
Wow.
And then my mom's, so you would have to leave your apartment, go in the hallway, unlock the padlock, and use this dusty ass latrine.
Wow, that's real old school, like New York tenement style.
Yes, absolutely. So what my mom's did, because again, she tried to make this little studio into our little castle. She knocked down our bedroom wall, and now that bathroom was in our room. Now, the only thing that sucked about that shit was, after, especially 10, 11, 12 growing up, when a motherfucker who's in your house, a cousin or a mom's or somebody got to use the bathroom at 2, 3 in the morning, you hearing these motherfuckers strain because they're about 3 feet from you. There was a door. We had the old school plastic accordion door to separate this fucking latrine from me and my brother's bunk bed right here. It was like, you would just look up and hear that shit strain. It was the concentrated stuff. Like, this can't be life. This can't be life. But my mom's had me at 15 years old. You know what I mean? So I knew it was going to be a little hard for her. And we always, unfortunately, grew up in a trap house. Our uncles hustled, and so it kind of had my mom's into that life. So when you grow up in a trap house, it's more horrors in the house and nightmares than actual good times. You understand? You leave the house for sanctuary. That's why we was always so good at sports, because whatever season was out, that's the sport we was playing. And one of those nightmares we was talking about was in 1986. I was exactly
you were probably like 5 or 6 years old. Yeah, 1986 sticks with me because it was the last year the Mets won the World Series. That's the fact. 1986. Donald Strawberry with a drippy nose. Doc Gooden missing the parade.
The Doc Gooden sniffles.
The Doc Gooden sniffles. Anyway, go ahead. So and we were like, I don't know, we didn't know each other at that time, but I was like in first grade at PS 110. So you must have been like 5 or 6. Damn.
Yeah, I was 6 years old. We end up me and you and I met up about 6, 7 years later.
Yeah.
Of this. But again, like, it was a lot of nightmares going on there. This one particular nightmare, I remember it so vividly. It was like the day before we was at the Central Park Zoo and the park, just a lot of us. Me and my cousin Alex, a few of my other cousins. So we all, Central Park Zoo, we was all chilling. And then for some reason, everybody stood over Alex's house. It's like a Saturday night. So, the cousins, we all, again, 5, 6 years old, they always still, for some reason, I didn't feel like it. I was like, no, I'm going to stay home. I stay home. Around 2, 3 in the morning, I hear arguing in our living room, which is also the kitchen and the shower was all in our living room. And I hear a lot of yelling. And when I open up our second accordion door, because that was a door to open up to leave our room, I see my mom. I see a pool of blood right in our kitchen.
Holy shit.
And I see my mom smashing a Spanish guy's head with the old school metal iron. The one with the cloth extension cord? It was the old school metal iron. And I'm just stuck. I don't say nothing. I'm just stuck, frozen.
Holy shit.
Bashing his skull in until there's no movement. And then her boyfriend, who's butt naked, really, really dark Cuban guy. He's butt naked because he just came out. That whole situation, I could get into that if you like. He grabs a knife and starts stabbing this guy as well.
Oh God!
But then he's already done off, and he runs in the hallway and starts yelling. Like I said, our house was a trap house, so there was always workers on the outside of it, and they come in and they take this guy who's already lifeless. And they start throwing him out the window. Down the staircase. I'm sorry. And he just like falls on the stairs. And I'm like, What's going on? And you notice he's bleeding heavy also. He's bleeding like out his chest.
Who your mother's boyfriend?
Yes, my mother's boyfriend. His
Okay.
name was Griffin. He was an old school Cuban style guy. His name was Griffin though, like the shoe polisher.
Yeah.
And so Griffin is breathing all hard, and then they take me out the house to bring me upstairs to my neighbor's house. So as I go by, I'm looking. I'm not saying nothing. I'm just stuck. But I see these holes in him. I see holes in him. And then they take me away and to my neighbors. And then the following morning, I wake up like 3-4 hours later. I remember going from roof to roof to roof because, you know, the old school tenement builders, all the buildings connect. And then they eventually take me to my cousin Alex's house. So when they wake up, they're like, "What the hell are you doing here?" And I was like, "Yo, mommy killed somebody." They thought I was lying. And then detectives end up coming over here to the house, and then they asked me what happened. So I told them exactly what I saw. And we eventually go home. And I don't know how many days later we went home. It could have been a few hours or it could have been a week. At
that time, you're traumatized. It's like a concept at this point.
All you see is a smashed skull. You know what I mean? And come to find out, this was the story. This is what happened. Griffin, he's so dope. And but he had our apartment building. He didn't sell out of an apartment building. He sold out of the apartment building, like on the opposite side of that same hallway. So our apartment was one apartment here, then one here. He sold out of his apartment over there. So that I guess he did it from a certain hour to a certain hour. And then, you know, after a certain hour, he's back at our house. Like that's where he lived. He trapped out of here and he worked here.
Got it.
And so he's coming out the shower and a lady knocks on the door. And he's like, she's asking for something. So he's like, "Miss, don't come here, you know, for that. You gotta, you know, not, you know, you already know. I guess she must have knew the rules, but was being defiant or whatever.
Yeah.
You know, so he leaves. Now a little later, now he's taking a shower, whatever it is. No, I'm sorry, he doesn't even take the shower yet. Now she knocks for the second time, and then he said, "Yo, what the fuck is wrong with you? What did I tell you or whatever? You come here again, I'm slapping the shit out of you," or whatever it was he told her. She leaves. Now he takes a shower. He gets out the shower. Now my mother's like, "Yo, what's up? What the fuck is going on?" Like, they don't know what's going on. Like, they don't know what's up. He goes to the hallway, and it's her again. Now he's out the shower, towel in hand, butt naked. He just slapped her. Bow. And some guy comes right around the hallway. You know, the blind spot that we had by the staircase. He comes around the little hallway and just starts stabbing my mother's boyfriend.
Wow.
Just starts stabbing him in his chest. And then that's when all my moms could do was grab the iron, cracked him with it, cracked him, I guess, 2-3 times till he was down. And then she just kept hitting him until Griffin was able to gather up some strength and start stabbing the guy as well.
God damn.
You know? So, of course, self-defense, you know, my mom's going to do a day of jail in that. And, you know, that's what that was.
Wow.
Griffin died as well. The guy died. Griffin died.
Did Griffin die shortly after that? Oh,
yes.
It was like a double homicide.
Yes, he died to those same puncture wounds. Those puncture wounds.
Oh my God, man! I'm so sorry you had to deal with. Like, I had no idea, and like, you know, and being, you know, a friend of yours as a kid, you never behaved like you saw that sort of trauma. There was other knuckleheads, but you always had a good heart, a good spirit about you. You wanted to be fucked with. You are Alex. You guys used to dump. You were because of Alex, but I never got that. Like, you've been through that. You know, you didn't carry that. You smiled a lot. You were bright-eyed. You were smart. You played sports. So I had no idea.
I give all that credit right there. I give all that credit right there to my mother.
Wow.
My mother, despite all that madness and whatnot, she kept the smile and she kept it. She tried to keep me and my brother in the best care possible. Her decision-making with boyfriends probably wasn't the best.
Yeah,
you know
I mean, that happens a lot, right? It's like,
at that age, my mother, from what I was told, she was very attractive. I would see how guys would gawk at her and whatnot. So I knew my mother was a hot smoking thing. So, you know, you start to attract the big drug dealers, not the little guys and all that. Yeah. I remember the guy Griffin having like a yellow Porsche that my mother had to like sell off for the low, whatever it was she sold. But, you know, come Christmas time, she always put up her little tree and always made little moments like that real magical for us. So it always, obviously all that madness, it was normal. but she also showed us that love that we was able to give off as well. So, you know, to our friends, it was nothing but love. And we would go home and go to sleep, and you might hear somebody in the hallway screaming for their life. And then that morning you go into school, you see the whole hallway filled with blood.
That's
you know
crazy.
What I mean?
Yeah, Pitch Street was wild, bro.
Yes, but
Pitch Street was in the 80s and 90s. Yeah. It was fucking wild.
Yeah, that crack era was scary.
Yeah, it was scary.
I remember I went to your house twice. Remember the one time was the dog situation.
Yeah.
But that was, you know, recently for the dog. But I ended up going to your house. I believe it was on 4th Street that you lived with, like
Third Street, yeah.
Okay. I remember one time. I want to say we dirtbag shit. We was probably in like summer school in Seward Park High School or some dumb shit. Wherever we was, that we met up and we ended up going to your house and seeing how fucking beautiful this house that you had with the Chinese staircase and all that. Yeah. And I always envisioned this is what a Lower East Side apartment is supposed to look. This is a Lower East Side lifestyle. You know what I mean? This is how you're supposed to grow up in the Lower East Side. Yeah. We grew up in the Pitch Street was disgusting. So we had that cool Lower East Side vibe, but we went outside. But when we went in the house, it was mad. It was nightmares and madness more than smiles. And again, it came normal. So you didn't know no better. It was
you know what's wild about growing up like that and seeing shit like that. That I think years later you start to the healing process starts to come by. Like you realize you start interacting with other people who had different upbringings. You realize, yo, that shit is not normal. That that's not And then it's like, oh shit. And did you ever like consider going to therapy or counseling for that, or was it something that you pretty much did on your own and just like figured it out, right?
Again, I didn't think nothing was wrong with it. I didn't think I needed therapy. I thought everybody lived like that.
Right. That's what I thought for a long time too.
Yeah, you know what I mean? So you grow up around the madness from day one. It's normal. So you know what's funny? My uncle, we told this story. We was talking about the upbringing, just how I'm doing now with you, about 10 years ago with him. And, you know, my Uncle Alex's father, but, you know, he lived out in Puerto Rico. He's my mother's older brother. He's the second oldest. And we telling him how we came up, and he's just like, wow, I never knew this. And how you guys ain't come up crazy or depressed.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying.
Therapy? Yeah. You need therapy?
You need help?
That was the first time I've ever realized that, like, wow, maybe that could have, you know, but we came up pretty cool. We didn't.
Yeah. And your mother probably was pivotal in giving you like hardcore family values.
Absolutely.
Even though like the decision making with the men that she made introduced you guys to like some horrific shit. For her, she was a good, strong base. And that's the same with my mom.
100%.
Yeah.
100.
Yeah, you can see that. It's amazing how that immediate like connection. I mean, that the mother plays such a role in that. In spite of all the madness and everything, just knowing her core values and where her heart was at and her mentality for the most part has that influence and it's passed along to you. And that will be passed along to your kids. You know what I'm saying? Because it's the evolution. It's the evolution.
And then you start that chain reaction from her line. Again, I never had a father. We ain't have a father. We ain't have nobody growing up like that. You know what I mean? The one person I consider stepfather, like I said, he was in and out of jail and he wasn't around too often. Even when he was around, he was smoking crack. So it just, wasn't, you know, it to keep that around there like that, it started with her. And I'm going to continue it down. And I tell that with my kids, and I hope they're the same way with theirs. And I try to give them exactly what I didn't have. Because that's the one part that stressed me out when I had Little League baseball games and all that. Just seeing my moms there. Everybody got their dads there. Their dads are teaching them grounders and whatnot. And I had niggas on the block teach me that. You know. So it was tough. That's when it became a little tough. That's when you realize, damn, this nigga's really a dirtbag. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Dirtbag.
Man, I appreciate you sharing that. I'm just a little worried because, you know, everyone listening, you know, during this time, we're doing this all online via Zoom. So yesterday, me and Lou were in the cut and we were flowing, and an hour and a half in, it started going in and out. So I want to make sure that doesn't happen again because this meeting was set for 1 hour and we got 5 minutes left. So I don't want that to happen. And I appreciate you sharing your dogs. this is like so good for me because I haven't spoken to you in so long. So I'm glad that during this time we're able to like talk. And it's crazy because I feel like we introduced to you on another level. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
That love that I have for you is resurfacing. It's like so nice to hear how good you're doing. And it's also like heartwarming to see how far you've come in spite of the circumstances and everything, and like your beautiful family and how they're coming together and all that good stuff. So I appreciate you sharing, man. I can't wait to have you on again because the vibe, the chemistry, the wave is super dope. So I'm gonna make sure you have you back on the DBS podcast. And every time I have someone on, I like them to plug their IG handle, whatever, because people will reach out to you if they have questions about anything that you had to share, or maybe the bully line or whatever. So put that out there.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Please give me a follow on Facebook at just Luis Nunez. Look through Sergio's friends. You'll see me as one of those mutuals. And of course, I got 2 accounts on Instagram. I'm at Big Lou 182. That's more my personal. I do my shakes and my healthness and my workout stuff. I try to show a little more on there. And then my other Instagram page, Big Lou Bullies.
Yeah.
BIGLOU BULLIES. Big Lou Bullies.
That's my favorite handle. I love looking at the dogs.
Yeah. Oh my God, and that's where I do all my bully stuff. All my dogs, my fur children. That's where you see all their updates, all my puppy updates, and what's available. If the bully gods praise me the way I want them to, hopefully in about 3 weeks I'll be having a litter.
Oh,
so you will see the updates on there and whatnot, and you'll see the female I use and the male I use for her, who's incredible. And please, man, just give me a follow, B.
All right, man. Yo, Lou, you're the man. Give the regards to the family, and I'll have you back on sooner than later, man. And we'll, throw some Lower East Side stories in there, shake it up, chop it up once more, one more time.
Absolutely. Love is love. Whenever you need me, bro, I'm here for you. I also want to tell you how proud I am of you and all your endeavors. I really, really got to salute the fact that every time you put your mind and set to do something, you get out and do it. A lot of people, we know that's the problem. A lot of people want to do a whole bunch of shit that don't have the time, or they do have the time. They just find an excuse to not get it done. I remember you telling me with the comedy shit, even with the boxing, the fitness, and now with this podcast, you put your mind to something and you do it and you go full out.
I appreciate that, man. I appreciate that.
I really salute that, bro. Word.
Thank you, man.
Proud of you and everything you're doing as well, man. Word.
I appreciate that, man. I appreciate that. That really means a lot, man. About to make me cry. You're about to make me cry on my own podcast. You can't do that.
Hey, that's what it's about. Brothers motivating each other.
We gotta start doing that. You're stupid, bro. You're stupid. We don't have enough time. Yo, Lou, you're the man. We'll get back up soon, all right? Take care, brother.
Absolutely, man. Love, bro. Love. Peace. What?